You're listening to The Sixth Hour, Airsoft Through Silk's Eyes, RT06, an in-depth, informative podcast about all things Airsoft. A veteran player of 4 years with a Milsim team shares his experiences for players new and old. The Sixth Hour, Airsoft Through Silk's Eyes, RT06. Episode 3, Naming the Baby. An idea takes flight. Guys, I think we're ready to talk about our first game, like actually playing it. I know for me, the first game, it kind of all fogs together as one big awesomeness. Like it's the only thing I can really compare it to as being a guy is when you lose your virginity. I'm going to be completely honest. It's that exciting, folks. You're sweating, your heart's racing, you're not even sure if you're doing it right.
Took so much longer to happen.
That's the only other thing, and you're so much more tired when it's done. Like I couldn't even move afterward. Whereas, So moving right along, as soon as first contact happens, that's where the confusion really sets in.
I remember heart just pounding. I think my first person I went to engage, the gun was still unsafe.
Yeah.
I reached up, went to pull the trigger, and there was just nothing, and
I want to say I remember moving. We're moving quietly through the bush without contact, and this is such a noob mistake. I'm not even on point. I'm a couple guys back, and I see silhouettes on a ridge line that's maybe 300-400 feet, but pretty much out of our effective range for airsoft. And just all you hear from Silk is contact, just pretty much as loud as I can at the top of my lungs. They didn't even see us at this point, so all I did was give away our position.
Yeah, and we couldn't even engage.
And but we didn't know that, and we all just lighted up. We just started shooting everybody. There was a good little group of us there, and they were friendly. They weren't even combatants. So again, that's just the level of like confusion, not really knowing. But I'm just having so much fun at this point in time. So like. Yeah, I think we actually took some casualties because there ended up being hostiles in the bush.
In the bushes, right across
directly in front of us. But
yeah.
Again, they didn't know we were coming that way. So as soon as I yelled, I just gave away our position, and the actual bad guys at that point were alerted to us. And they turned their direction to us, and we walked into a meat grinder. We really did. I remember a lot of guys going down pretty quickly. I think, Doc, you got hit.
Absolutely.
I think Ryan got hit, actually. Did you even fire your weapon, Ryan, at that point?
No, because I think I was pretty far back initially when the firing started. And again, I was using a gas rifle. I was using...
Yeah.
That's right. And
everyone had, these automatic AEGs with...
Oh, yeah, that period was full auto, too.
Full auto.
Full auto,
that's right.
Most of the kids had high caps.
That's right. I was one of those most kids that day.
They're dumping out... Honestly, like hundreds of rounds. And
high volume of fire. So for people that don't know, high cap refers to a high capacity magazine in airsoft.
It's a maraca in airsoft.
It's a maraca. What it is it's a rattler. Like you just put BBs into a container, and there's a mechanism that'll feed them up, and you can effectively fire your weapon non-stop. So if your high cap holds 400 rounds, you can dump 400 rounds without letting off the trigger.
You just gotta spin that little wheel
on
the bottom.
You just gotta work the mechanism. So some of them spin. They actually have some that you pull a cord and it'll force feed the entire magazine up through it. They have automatic winders that take batteries. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you're running an LMG, a light machine gun, high caps are just not a thing for airsoft. But again. First game
for Milsims.
Yes.
I
don't even want to get into that right now, guys, because that there's going to be episodes and episodes about Milsims versus skirms, this and that. So again, so high caps. I know I was running around with a few rattlers that day, just for the fact that I didn't know any better. And again, I'm just going to keep saying it was my first game. It was my first game, guys. I didn't know. So to just quickly cap. First contact was friendly fire. On our part, we're lighting up friendlies. We gave away our position. We then took effective enemy fire, and everybody gets shot.
Oh,
Shot. We got shot. I got shot. Ryan got shot. Then call sign Pliskin. Doc got shot. And we come back to the safe zone, and I know I was just over the moon. I was
chiclets, just chiclets across the face.
Yeah, we, it didn't matter that we just got shot, that we did all this preparation to go out there to get shot.
It's still the way we play. still doesn't matter if you get shot. Like,
oh, that's just it. Yeah.
Just go back to safe zone, come back in. That's the joy of this game.
Yeah, that's it. And again, that's just it. It's just so exciting, and there's always so many great things going on that, you know what, getting shot is all part of it. It really is. And I know for me now, it's a way to essentially train to get better. You can see where you made a mistake. Essentially, you can see why you got shot, where you failed, and you can constantly use it as a tool to improve. But I mean, for us, day one, it was, guys, I finally got shot. So it was more of like a rite of passage. I know that we were running that day. We were running with some experienced guys that had essentially they had their shit together, and they were guiding us after we kind of shuck out the jitters for the first little bit. And we finally got focused on some tasking. And I know, again, from experience, being that it was the first game, there was objectives to this game that we had to, I guess, accomplish in order to win.
Yeah, this wasn't just kill the other.
Yeah, and for me, and then that's when it clicked. I was like, oh my god, this is an entire world, essentially, that we're going to immerse ourselves in. And this is the start of it, guys. So we're working now with another unit that's experienced towards objectives and accomplishing these objectives. Now we're taking direction from guys that know what's going on. I felt like we were so much more effective once we had that little bit of guidance. And this is still just day one. So we have some guidance now, somebody telling us what to do. We're now effectively moving from position to position. We're gaining ground on the enemy. And there's actually, what's funny too, being that it was our first game, current members that are on our team now that would eventually join our ranks, Rapture Team's ranks. But at this time, we didn't even know we were going to make a team either.
No team, there was nothing.
Nothing. But yeah, so our first game that we go to, there's current member Chemo, Andrew Buddy, who was at the first game that we attended. So this guy had already played more Airsoft than me. He had more time in the field. He was a younger guy. I think at that point it was a field where if you're under the age of 18, you had to have your parent permission and a parent signature to play, which he was a dedicated guy, and he was obviously, his parents knew what he was doing, so he had that, and it was taken care of no problem. He didn't become a part of our team until he was over the age of 18. It's just something that Rapture Team does because of the events that we go to. It's 18 plus.
It's funny. It's really.
It's funny just looking back that we're just getting into it ourselves. We're just no thought of a team yet or nothing like that. And just this fellow airsofters there, and just another good guy shooting BBs at other good guys.
Yeah, what was really weird about it is the fact that we weren't thinking about a team at this point, nothing like that. We didn't really talk to Chemo after that game much. We didn't really stay in touch or anything like that. And then to find out years down the road, we end up coming back together and being the team that we end up becoming,
that we are now.
Was that when we gave him his nickname?
No, that comes much later. Yeah. So it's still at the same field.
Did we even know him then, or
no, we didn't even know him. It was actually just looking back at pictures.
And this is the irony of it is the fact that he ended up running with us all day. Maybe he just had that feeling. Maybe he just felt like he would fit in with us.
Yeah, but I also, it's funny that you say that. I want to really quick plug this video. So it's our first game ever. There was a guy running around with a camera. He wasn't playing, but he had sort of a handy cam type thing, and he was bouncing around the field, taking game footage, quote unquote, kind of interviewing people. Not really interviewing, but just filming them as they're walking, asking them some questions. And it's actually on YouTube, and it's the Wolf's Den. I don't actually know the exact episode, but there'll be a link. There'll be a link to it when this airs.
And it's a pretty big deal with paintball.
Yes, absolutely. He's a big deal in paintball, and he was just kind of checking out the Airsoft thing. But yeah, so he actually interviewed, quote unquote, Chemo, Andrew Buddy, that day. Recorded him in this video, and then later on in the video, he's actually embedded with me as I'm taking fire, actually exchanging fire with enemy targets. And I actually, it's funny, I'm running an M14, a pistol, and a spring shotgun.
Yeah.
And in the 30 seconds, the 30 seconds that he's with me, and again, just so new why I had that shotgun. But really, it's funny because he's got the camera over my shoulder, and first game ever, I end up, guy that I'm rolling with gets taken out, and I'm exchanging BBs with a couple of guys. I take out a couple of people, I switch over to the shotgun, I have to do a mag change, I go to the pistol, and he's just,
you end up doing a three gun competition while playing
Yeah. And then I myself end up getting shot, and then I get shot again. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Looking back to the first ever game, a little bit of footage was caught there, and just so many guns. But yeah, I definitely don't tote around a shotgun anymore unless I absolutely need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just interesting to see like the progression from that first ever game to how we are now. And to see like the local field, to see players that are now on the team that weren't then, that were there that day, that very first day that I played Airsoft, that now again like he's on the team. He's a friend of mine. He's a good friend. We get along. He wouldn't be on the team if we didn't. So yeah, it's just, I think it speaks volumes really to like how the sport is with people.
Well, yeah, how you build these relationships with one another. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like some of the guys on the team, had it not been that outlet there that we all met, I probably wouldn't have talked to most of these people.
Well, you wouldn't have the venue to really.
Well, and like that comes back to that whole like judge a book by its cover thing. I would have just not have.
Well, and again, not that it's an issue, but the age gap too.
Yeah, the age gap, so
I'm right now 28, just about to be 29. Larry, you're what, 32, about to be 33. Ryan,
he's
24. He's showing me 4, but I think that's code for 24. And then we got guys on the team that are just now 19, turning 20. So I think, and Andrew is 20, turning 21, or he is 21. But I mean, just so like Airsoft brings people together. It really does.
It really does.
And it's a common ground, and people from all walks of life. Really, like it's not just.
Well, you look at the walk of life that's just in our team alone.
Oh, absolutely, and it's all over the spectrum.
Mechanics, realtors,
carpenters, people that work in the service industry.
Like it's right across the.
Oh, absolutely,
board,
all across the board. So, and I think that's just Airsoft as a whole. It just draws everybody in. It doesn't matter. Like I think a lot of guys and girls too played, quote unquote, played army or played cops and robbers, or the good guys and the bad guys. And Airsoft essentially is sort of living out that fantasy as an adult. And again, like I had said once already, you get to go home at the end of the day. And again, so this is, I think it's culturally different for our friends south of the border, but here in Canada, the military is not quite as present, I would say, in day-to-day life as it really is in the States. So for us being Canadian, being north of the border, and wanting to be involved in something like this,
shoot each other with guns.
Yeah, shoot each other with guns. Like it's not that it's not accepted. It's just not as accepted as it is in the States.
Well, yeah, with their gun laws and stuff in the States, you're grown up knowing exactly what a
exactly that's what it is. Whereas
where a lot of
here in Canada, yeah, like people see an assault rifle or any sort of gun that's not a hunting rifle. Yeah, and then, it becomes the infamous ghost gun, people. So yeah, exactly. So it's not that it's any harder. It's just different. That's all it is. It's different, and I think we'll probably talk more about that on later episodes. Just the difference from Canadian Airsoft to American Airsoft. But for today, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So now we've played our first game. Just absolutely over the moon with the experience. Complete and utter shell shock, for lack of a better word. You're just so kind of just like excited with you're so excited. It's like Christmas morning every morning, but you're excited for memories, things that happened in the past.
What 5 years later, you know what has not changed for me from the very first game we've ever played is, I think most of us can attest to this, is getting in the car driving home.
Oh yeah.
Discussing everything that just happened.
Yeah.
Literally just happened.
And the excitement is just over the moon.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what?
Oh my god, did you see this?
Yeah, do you remember that? Do you remember that? Holy crap. You're like, yeah, dude, I was right beside you. Like, I did that or whatever.
Yeah, I was there. True story.
It's unbelievable. Like, 5 years later, and, you think you've come a long way, and then...
Yeah, it's just
those things are still...
Yeah, those conversations, those conversations still happen. Like, if we get into a really sick firefight, sometimes we have to remind ourselves to save those conversations for when the game itself is over. Because when you're playing these 18-hour, 20-hour, 24-hour games, and you just you flank out an entire platoon and take out 20 guys, or Ryan and myself, where we storm an enemy HQ, just the two of us, where we throw grenades and we start moving before the grenades go off, and we're literally on top of them as soon as the grenades pop, and there's just the two of us taking out at least 8, if not more, targets at a field. Actually, Warsoft, I'll plug them right now, but again, all these moments, like it's sheer excitement. Like it's like a kid in a candy store. So we're all in the car after our first game, and we're just basically yelling at each other about who had the better day. And yeah, it was just, I just remember, I drove my wife nuts talking about this stuff. She's like, I don't even care. And that's all I talked about. So this is kind of the mindset, I think, that led us to the next little bit of what happens, where I wanted to play my second game, and I'm still just driving home from my first game. Yeah. So I'm not excited. And again, we were there, and we saw other guys there that were experienced, that knew what they were doing, and they were on a team.
Well,
a team. What's a team?
The relationship we built with Ryan, like our very first game we ever played together, like the relationship.
Yeah, the camaraderie,
right there,
the way we clicked. I'll never forget me and Ryan just seamlessly bounding. So two guys that really don't know each other from a hole in the ground are taking BBs under fire, and now they're moving. Like, I had no formal military training. Ryan had no formal military training, and we're able to move, shoot, and communicate with each other essentially without even pre-planning whatsoever. So I mean, I know that for me, that was a big thing in my mind when I was like, when I got home, maybe I know for a fact that afternoon me and Larry talked on the phone probably for hours and hours, but I know it was the next day, if not 2 days after our first game, I had phoned Larry and was like, you got to get a hold of Ryan, and you got to ask him.
You got to go out again.
Yeah, you got to ask him if he wants to be on the team with us, because we had such a great time together, the three of us. I couldn't imagine playing Airsoft without you guys again. And so I think that's basically when we, like, I know it was Larry that called Ryan, but
I think this is
the
very beginning.
The very like, I didn't even know what I was asking. Essentially, I was kind of basically like, you got to call him up and like see if he wants to play with us again, if he wants to make it like a team. I know the word team was used, but looking back now, we had no idea. We absolutely had no idea. Like, when I said team, I was thinking like myself, Larry, Doc. It was Ryan. I think still the call signs weren't even a thing yet. I think because our first game, we're still just Jeff, Larry, and Ryan, and Billy was the fourth guy. And then we talked about, if we want to get on a team, would you want to be on a team with us? And then I think, like I said, I didn't make the phone call to Ryan, so all I know is I'm talking to Larry. And again, Larry's my brother, basically, family for years. So it's really comfortable for me to be like, dude, we just gotta call him. You gotta get him. You gotta convince him to be on a team with us. This has to happen. Like, he knows more about the sport than we do. So like, we'll follow him. Tell him fucking take the reins.
And that was it, that he knew about the sport.
Yeah. So there it was. I think I kind of planted the seed in Larry's head about this, and then Larry called Ryan. So I don't know if you guys remember exactly what was going on through your heads at that point in time, but
well, I think a big thing for me was, like, I was into Airsoft. I started with the Clearsoft from Walmart, like, way back in high school and stuff. But when I did get into it, it was near the tail end, and a lot of my friends ended up going away to the universities. So it's this big thing, like, we sold our guns because we just weren't playing anymore. When I met these guys after that 2-gun exchange and Jeff bought the pistol, they asked me, do you guys want to go play at SOF? And I hadn't played.
Sorry, SOF is
Soldier of Fortune. It's a paintball field in Hamilton. They used to run Airsoft games out of there. They don't so much anymore. They still have the option. You can rent the field, but yeah,
we don't know the details.
We don't know the details, and again, so
we kind of outgrown.
Yeah, we kind of outgrown that field, but again, so back then it was the it was all the rave.
Oh,
so.
it's still a great.
Oh, absolutely, still a great setup, great field.
But back down to like, let's be honest. How much do you enjoy having paint all over your kit at the end of the day?
Yeah. We run up
they run heavy paintball games there. There's a lot of paint all over everything. But anyway, so back to what Ryan was saying about.
So these guys, said you want to play, and that was an opportunity for me to get into it again. And the big thing that I believe with this sport is like the community and the friendship. it is that much more of an experience, and it is that much more enjoyable when you have someone there to share it
Absolutely.
with. When you get to be a part of someone else's experience. So that was a big thing for me. So I said, okay, I met these two great guys. I can start playing Airsoft again. And after their first game, it was like, holy, like, when are we doing this again? Just like Jeff said, like, when's the next game? When are we doing this?
That's right. So, so now we have this brainchild, and it's just, I know for me, like, I was losing sleep about it. I was so excited. I wanted, after we sort of, everybody came back with, yeah, let's do it. I think we all just sort of ran in different directions at first, but everybody just had a lot of ideas, and
I think we had a little bit of suggestion from an outside source that, hey, like, you guys look pretty together when you're out there, and this was just our first experience, and it was kind of that outside source saying, hey, you should organize this, you should put this together. When we ourselves are saying this, it was pretty big. So we got together and we
absolutely, and so we knew that we wanted a group of like-minded individuals. We knew that we wanted to play maybe a little bit more serious than the average airsofter. So I know that was a big thing.
That was from our first game. We just realized that.
Yeah, we knew that pretty much right out of
it wasn't jeans and sweaters.
Yeah, exactly. Right out of the gate, we knew going in that we were going to be pretty much like just hitting it hard. So after we played our first game and we saw what we were in for, this was now the conscious decision. Okay, let's try to make a team. So I honestly had said in my first episode to make something out of nothing, and I feel like that's what we did, because when we started, we had no idea whatsoever, no idea, and I can't stress this enough, no idea what we were doing. So we're trying to make a team that's modeled off a military unit with no formal military training, that's going to be engaging targets, clearing buildings, getting into firefights, operating radio systems in a cohesive manner, using proper military radio chatter, all these things, and we're just a group of guys in our 20s, trying to put it all together. So really, it was just
zero military training.
Yeah, zero formal military training whatsoever. So again, this is just the excitement levels, and just now we're just movies that we've seen, and
that's
again,
our training right there.
That's our training.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we.
And not only that, but then now we're like, okay, well, we thought that might work for us, and this might work for us, and really, like, so we just essentially kind of just took this idea and just ran with it. And now, before we get too much into the actual training, because I'm gonna be honest, early on there wasn't much training, guys. Like, Rapture Team did not train when we first got going. But
we played together.
To be honest with you, we're not even at Rapture yet. We're still just a group of guys that are getting together, and we know we want to be more serious about this sport than just the average Joe. So I know that, and this is what's tough. I think Ryan had some ideas bouncing around for a name, but for me at the time, 2012, now the game was probably a little bit dated, but it was still a really good game for me that I love playing all the time, and the game is called BioShock, and I played it on Xbox 360. And it was just honestly, ladies and gentlemen, like myself, my wife, we played this game, and it was a really good game. And everybody knows that the city underwater in BioShock is Rapture. So that title, Rapture, for me, was just really, really cool name. And the biblical meaning of it is actually the second coming. So we thought that we would be the second coming of Airsoft, with, I think, leading towards that name.
Sounds pretty considerate.
Oh yeah, our heads were kind of bigger than they should have been, I think. But I remember that was I know I remember anyways bouncing that little tidbit of golden nugget around, saying that, yeah, well, we're Rapture Team, the second coming of Airsoft. So not to be too biblical or whatever, because the name did come from a video game, to be completely honest. But after we decided that was going to be the team name, we then decided we should know what it actually means. So we looked into it, and yeah, the biblical sense is the second coming. and
or
so
euphoria.
Yeah, that like.
yeah, the feeling of euphoria. Yeah. So and everybody.
Like, I remember when we seen that the euphoria part, like it really kind of
That's
like,
me.
that's
yeah.
it right
That
there.
is
Like, that's how we feel after.
Oh, absolutely.
During games and after the game, that
So
euphoria
even like I've
there.
seen that there's that American Dad episode. I think there's a family with like the Rapture.
Yeah.
And like these people being enlightened and lifted away.
That's
like,
it,
That
yeah.
smile. And it's like that's what we get.
That's what we get
That's
from this
absolutely
game.
it,
Like,
yeah.
that's what.
And the other thing too is I think it played a very minimal effect to Jeff, but I think it just cemented the idea. I had created an account on Airsoft.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's right. Well, no, you know what? And I think again, we're so we have these different names bouncing around. We haven't really finalized one yet, but we've all made these accounts on, and everybody here in Ontario and Canada will know it's ASC, is Airsoft Canada. It's a forum-based website where a lot of information is exchanged. You can sell guns. They have this age verification process to make sure that anybody buying guns or even looking at the ads for guns are above the age of 18.
And people even in discussion and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a gentleman's club.
Exactly. So it's a very big part of Airsoft here north of the border. And so we all made accounts when we first got going. Of course, my name is Silk on it. Easy to find. I think
that was your call sign.
Yeah, Silk. That's the.
Doc was.
Well, I used Jetta Master, being a fan of Star Wars and Volkswagens. I kind of.
Which you still are.
Which I still am. Yes.
Still am.
absolutely.
So actually wearing a Volkswagen hat right now. And I got the Stormtrooper hat on, so that's still a big part of our lives.
Yeah, I used Jetta Master, just smashing the names both together. I changed my call sign twice because I wasn't really set on it. And
see, now I was gonna wait a little bit before we got into why our call signs are, because I have a little bit of a story on how we got to Silk, and it's just almost nonsensical. I know Ryan was
So this is where it came from. So mine was RT Pliskin.
what does the RT stand for?
That was my name.
So Ryan, his middle name is Thomas.
So it was Ryan Thomas, and then I wasn't going to use my last name on the forums. I was going to use a pseudonym, and I used
Pliskin. Snake Pliskin, I would think from.
Yeah, Iroquois Pliskin from Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
That's right. It was not the Metal Gear Solid Pliskin, but it was the
yes. Metal Gear Solid fan.
Absolutely no, but I think it's more important to say that it's from the Escape from New York and Escape from LA movies, because I know for me, growing up in the '90s, those were some big flicks. Absolutely. So I think it's important to point out that. Oh, here we go. He's actually showing me a figurine, still in its original package, because Ryan here is a nerd. We got Escape from New. We're all nerds. Let's not lie here. It's Airsoft. Escape from New York, Snake Pliskin, 3 3/4 inch, fully posable action figure, which is honestly amazing. I might try and steal this when I leave here later on today.
But that was it. So I created this RT Pliskin, and Pliskin was my Airsoft character.
And I believe I'm gonna actually go ahead and steal credit for this, because I think it was me that I pointed out to you. I want to say I pointed out, said, hey, look, we're fumbling around with this name Rapture Team. RT.
And you already have RT.
And he has me in RT. And I asked him, I said, why RT? And he's like, oh, it's my initials. I'm like, RT, Ryan Thomas. That's how I found out his middle name was Thomas. So, yeah, it was just like, oh, well, now we have to pick Rapture Team.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So that was kind of naming the baby there.
So yeah, that was it. That was the final. It was like
that was it. Yeah, absolutely. So it didn't matter what anybody said. Yeah. It didn't matter what anybody else said. It was Rapture Team, and that's that. So now we have a name for this thing, and again, the excitement is still just flowing. And we had some pointers from the outside Airsoft community saying that, if you guys are going to be a team, you should go for a uniform look. So I want to say our second game out there, we still didn't really have a uniform look per se, because I know for a fact at this point I was wearing a full ACU setup, and again, I'll have pictures up. You guys will see. I'm running Polymer M4 at this point. I think we had decided that the team was going to run an AR platform for
we could share magazines.
Yeah, so we
realized from the first game.
Yeah, so with the shortage of ammo that you can experience very quickly, especially when you're ammo dumping high caps.
Yeah, when you're a noob.
A noob, yeah, absolutely. When you're a noob.
Shoot your gun.
Yeah, that's it. You're lighting it up. So
the very first game, I forgot to mention. So this $700 VFC.
Oh my gosh.
Vegas Force Company Scar H I bought. Again, knowing nothing about Airsoft. Very first game out with it, I tear the piston out halfway through the day.
Yeah.
totally destroyed the inside.
The gun starts making a crazy
I
whine.
had no idea these guns were internally repairable. You couldn't fix. I didn't know you could fix the insides of these things.
Yeah,
Let alone upgrade them. Yeah.
Yes, I literally thought
oh shit.
I just broke my $700 gun, and
yeah.
that was it. Like,
You know what's funny? Actually, I can't believe we did forget to say that because we were talking about how over the moon we are in the car, and it was kind of bittersweet because
absolutely.
there's Doc kind of like white knuckling the steering wheel, not saying anything to anyone, and there's myself and Ryan in the back just giddy with excitement from what we've done, and he's now thinking that he's got to go home and tell his wife that he broke a $700 toy.
Yeah.
But I think now that again, not really knowing too much, that we didn't even know that the internals were replaceable. That you could essentially you can buy something and upgrade every single piece to it. So
well, yeah. Nowadays, when a gun goes down, you kind of shrug your shoulders and you pick up your backup gun.
Yeah,
get back into it.
That's exactly
it's just
it.
Like, all right, I gotta figure out when I go home what did I break.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
just it. So so the again with the kit never ever quite being finished, you're never quite done with your weapons either. Things break, you upgrade. You want the newest little piece of technology that's going to make it better. Whatever it is, it's never ending. It truly is. Tune in next week as we continue the conversation with founding Rapture Team members. Find out just how we got this thing kicked up off the ground. You've just been listening to The Sixth Hour, Airsoft Through Silk's Eyes, RT06. I've really had a blast talking with you guys this week. Can't wait until next time, and we can do it all over again. Until then, keep your batteries charged, your mags gassed, and your gear stowed. And remember, boys and girls, stay safe. And always, always call your hits.